Hello, welcome, happy new year, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Very special thing going on here us at the Thrill of Me Podcast Network. We're going to be taking a look back at 2023, to be more precise, 4 looks back at 2023, as we're going to give our top 10 personal favorite films of 2023. We all, myself, obviously, this episode, and then we have Zach and Mr. Wonderful from Haunters Podcast on the Thrill of Me Podcast Network that will be giving their top 10s as well, man. So make sure you get that notification alert on to get alerted when we all upload these episodes. Then we'll all assemble together to go over the top 10 list and come up with the definitive Thrill Me Podcast Network top 10 list, man. So got that fun stuff going on. Appreciate you joining in to check this out. I'm going to give my 10 films and not wait too much more time here. I could kick it off first with some honorable mentions. We always do honorable mentions before going into top 10s with events. So here we go. Honorable mention. I got 5 of them here. First one going to be The Nun 2. It was nice to see a new film in the Conjuring universe earlier in last year, 2023. Got to get used to that. So it was nice to see a new film in the Conjuring universe. I love the way they do those things, and it was a very well put together and solid, scary film. I know there's some detractors on the first movie, but honestly, thoroughly enjoyed The Nun 2, man. So that's an honorable mention. Another honorable mention for a film I had fun with is a movie called No Hard Feelings, starring Jennifer Lawrence in a raunchy R-rated comedy, man. Nice to see her in a comedy film. She mostly has done dramatic and action films, but to see her in a comedy role, she's a funny person. We've all seen interviews and everything like that from her. So to see this comedic role was hilarious, man. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out. It's a funny movie. Let's see. We've got the Super Mario Brothers movie hit my honorable mentions. I did have a lot of fun with this movie earlier, mostly because of the song Peaches. That was fun. Listen to that song a lot. Made my top 10 list of favorite new songs that came out in 2023. So if you follow me on Insta, you saw that already. If you don't, what are we doing? Follow me on Insta. Come on, look at this. Look at this beautiful face. You want to follow it on Instagram. So yeah, I got Super Mario Brothers there. I got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem in my honorable mentions as well. Had a lot of fun with that movie. It was cool to see the Turtles back. Anytime we get a chance to see the Ninja Turtles come back and do the thing is awesome. They had that really cool art style going on with it as well. So it was cool to see them back. And last honorable mention here is going to be the Power Rangers 30th anniversary special short film kind of deal they did. I think it was like 45 to an hour. It was on Netflix, especially came out this year. As you can see from my background here, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan. If you put that together, that is the Megazord. I am a huge Power Rangers fan. So when that happened, it hit me in all the right spots. Was so excited to watch that and get back into the world of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers this year. And hopefully we'll get more, man, from the Power Rangers. But without further ado, now that I've given you those 5 honorable mentions, again, that's Super Mario Brothers, The Nun 2, TMNT, Mutant Mayhem, No Hard Feelings, and Power Rangers. Let's go ahead and jump in to my top 10 favorite films. Again, my favorite films of the year. So, starting it off at number 10, I have Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, a film. When it was first announced, I had no idea it would be in my top 10 at all. But I saw a clip of Chris Pine's character talking to a corpse, asking it questions, and I'm like, oh, this movie's going to be hilarious. This movie's going to be a good time, and we're going to have fun here. So, Dungeons and Dragons ended up being a really fun movie for me and squeaked into my top 10 here, man. I like what they did with it. I had a good time. It was fantastic. It was awesome. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, so very easy for me to watch and enjoy along with. Number 9, I have The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Like, I'm an easygoing person. I love freaking vampires, especially Dracula, right? And we're in the Universal Monster Land. Dracula is my favorite Universal monster, and freaking, I lovingly call it Dracula on a boat. Like, it's just a cool concept, creepy concept. Imagine just being stuck on a boat with this bloodthirsty killer. Such a good idea. Very well. It is a lot of, drawn out time in the film, but I loved it. Like, I've got no problem with drawn out time in movies. We're going here, we're bitten pieces, we're building the anticipation, we're building the scary. So I enjoyed The Last Voyage of the Demeter very much. On the completely other scale of horror, at number 8, I have Evil Dead Rise. Um, I haven't watched a ton. I've seen every Evil Dead movie. I don't really go to them all that often. I did really enjoy that 2013 film, and coming into this movie and seeing the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is going to be grotesque, and I'm glad to say the film is very beautifully grotesque. It is insanity times 10 and very fun to watch. I've seen that movie, I want to say a couple times. Probably one of the it's up there with most watched films for me of the year. Like I said, it's a good time watch, even with how grotesque and gory it is. But it's fun. It fits right then with the Evil Dead films. It's a new entry there, and it looks like they have a positive and possible continuations of more Evil Dead films happening. So, Evil Dead Rise, I have at number 8. Another film here coming in at 7 that I didn't have too high of expectations, but ended up loving after seeing it, and that would be Wonka. I have Wonka at number 7. I think Timothy Chalamet was, just fantastic playing the prequel version of Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. I thought it was fantastical. I thought it was whimsical. It was chocolatey. It was candified, and it was a good time, man. Good, solid story that gets you in all the emotions. So Wonka, very good. Getting you in all the emotions, I have at number 6 a film that really hit me hard when I watched it earlier in a way that I had to sit in my car and really process what I just watched. And that film at number 6 is Talk to Me. That film, A24 and I have been on record about how I feel with some of their films. And, honestly, lately they've been knocking it out of the park and been enjoyable film after enjoyable film. And this movie, I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, this is another one of those psycho head trippy films. I don't know what to think, but interesting concept. Grabbing the possessed, chopped off hand, and it taking you into a very bad place. But yeah, that movie, I watched it in theaters, man, and it hit me in a big bad hard way. Left me again, like I said, I had to sit in my car a little bit after leaving the movie and just process what I watched and try to get my mindset back. Like I was hanging out with friends afterwards. I was still just in a wild mindset after watching that movie. So, Talk to Me is at number 6, which means we are now entering the top 5, man. So here we go. Top 5. Number 5, I have another horror film. Shocking, right? The horror guy has a lot of horror movies in his top 5. Um, but at number 5, I do have The Exorcist Believer. If you know me, you know I'm a huge fan of that first Exorcist film. It's a top 5 all time favorite horror film for me. So when they announced this movie, I was excited. I'm like, cool, we're entering back into that world. And before I got to see the movie, I got to do the house at Halloween Horror Nights, which just built the anticipation up even more. Now I know the house wasn't fully the movie, which fine. They only had the trailer to really work with anyway. So going off the trailer, they did what they could. But I really honestly loved that movie. Again, a movie I've watched several times this year. Had absolute enjoyment with it. I don't agree with what other people have said, but people have their opinions, and that's fine. But I think it is a good, successful continuation of the Exorcist franchise in a new direction, being a direct sequel to the original film. So yeah, Exorcist Believer at number 5 for me. Loved it. Let's see, number 4. I have another horror film. This is the last horror movie. I have another movie that I've watched a ton this year and has Halloween Horror Nights ties, and that is probably I'm pretty sure the first movie I saw in 2023, and that was Megan, man. If you know me, I love horror movies that star dolls. I mean, Chucky is my horror icon. So if they're doing a horror movie with a doll, I'm into it, right? So when I saw Megan and everything, I'm like, oh, this is cool. We have the Blumhouse behind it, and you're again kind of like A24 hit and miss, but Blumhouse on a good roll as well lately. And Megan was just a solid film, man. Not just from the horror aspects, but the story aspects, and seeing the heart wrenching moments of the kid losing her parents and having no idea what to do with life at that point, and having this, you know, AI doll, you know, as her best friend and as her companion and her protector, and just going through the film as that and seeing how it gets crazier and crazier, and seeing what ends up happening and how it's all going, man. I thought Megan was very well put together movie, and I can't wait to see the next Megan film. All right, top 3 time, baby. Number 3, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I know what you're saying. Rob's not a Marvel guy. Holy crap, he's got a Marvel film in his top 10. Yes, I do. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a fantastic flipping flarking. I'll say flarking in honor of Rocket Raccoon. Flarking film. Like, we talk about story, they knocked it out of the park. James Gunn just killed it with these characters that a lot of people didn't know about. A lot of people were skeptical about the first movie with, talking raccoon in a tree that can only say, I am Groot. Like, what are we doing that? But it ended up being a very fantastic run for James Gunn over there at Marvel, and ended on the perfect note. I think, that film with the heart, it's hard. It's another movie that's hard to watch just because of the subject matter that's in the film, not because of the quality of the film. The film is quality without doubt. But the subject matter in the film is hard to watch when you're going back and watching that movie. But they did it in such a respectful way to tell that kind of story. And again, it's just James going over to DC. I can't wait to see what he does with those characters. But he absolutely dominated and gave what some people are calling Marvel's last great film, which again it came out this year. So we still got time there. But it was their first, or some people are saying the first great film from them since Endgame or Spider-Man: No Way Home. So again, not too long of a time there. But you know, honestly, fantastic. I think all the performances in the movie, and to some characters, is probably their last run in there. And again, of course, James Gunn is gone from Marvel now. Who knows what the future holds? But he is, of course, doing the DC thing, so I wouldn't expect him to do anything Marvel wise for quite some time, if at all. And then we have, a solid villain in that movie too, which Marvel has kind of missed on villains, but that villain in that movie is freaking terrifying. So yes, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is at number 3 for me, which leads us to two more films, which honestly I've been going back and forth with ever since I found out we were doing the top 10, on this doing these specials. So I had to really, really, really process how I wanted to go here. And again, this is my personal top 10 list. So you're not worried about bias or anything like that, obviously. But, I'm going to honestly go with number 2. I have, let's figure this out as we go. Number 2, I have, yeah, I'm going to put it two. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I have it number 2. It was great to be back in that world of the Hunger Games in a new way. This movie is a lot more musical than the other films, with Rachel Zegler just absolutely dominating the screen. I mean, I always knew that she was a fantastic singer. Like, I knew that. But acting wise, I didn't know her full potential until this movie. And she just dominates when she is on screen. Her emotion ability, her acting, her everything, her singing obviously is just top notch. And, seeing what they did there and seeing this story come to life on the big screen was awesome. As the beginning of the Snow story as well, getting the Lucy Gray story online. And I can't tell you how much I've listened to that soundtrack since this movie has come out. So, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a very fantastic film for me in 2023, which leaves us with one movie. And you probably already know what it is. I don't care what the internet detractors say. I could care less. In 2024, even less dealing with drama from people on the internet. I'm going to enjoy what I enjoy. If they don't like it, I don't care. Number 1, I have The Flash. Very easily for me, the number 1 film for this year. A movie I saw every week it was in theaters. I absolutely adored every moment I've had with this movie. It was the first film I watched in 2024. I can't say really anything bad about that movie. I know the CGI isn't the best, but you also have to remember the CGI at the time of this movie. And we went through a whole pandemic and everything was backed up. And then when we got back to it, the CGI, teams and everything were all backed up. So we can't really blame them for CGI. And if your big problem with a movie is CGI, get out of here. The story is great. I love the story that they tell with, going back in time. This is the Flash story. Flash is my favorite superhero. So seeing the Flash back on the big screen for the first time, in a solo film was great. I don't care what, again, the internet wants to say about Ezra, who's been proven innocent already. But Ezra gives a fantastic performance playing two versions of Barry Allen in the film, and they're different categories. One is an 18-year-old, freaking immature little kid, and the other one's the one trying to save his mom and going back in time and fix everything, and have to deal now with teaching this character and trying to fix the mess up mistakes that he did, and going back in time and just dealing with all that. Seeing Michael Keaton's Batman back on the big screen, freaking come on! This first Batman I was ever introduced to, my favorite Batman of all time. So seeing Michael Keaton's Batman back on screen was great. Sasha Calle as Supergirl, fantastic, dude. Ben Affleck's swan song as Bruce Wayne and freaking Batman in this movie. I just everything. Like, I can't picture anything that I didn't love about this movie. Like, from start to finish. Again, another soundtrack I've listened to multiple times, and again, just watched it last night, and I'm enthralled and tranced by this movie. Like, I love every single aspect of it. I still get goosebumps after seeing the movie so many freaking times. I still get the tear works. I still get all the emotions. I get the laughter. I get the comedy. I get the fun. I get the action. I get the drama. I get everything with this movie still after I've seen it so many times, and it's easily my favorite film of 2023. So let me know, dare I say, in the comments, what do you think of my top 10 here? I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this. And again, remember, we have two more coming. We have Zach and Mr. Wonderful dropping their top 10 list, and then we're going to assemble at the this Friday. We're going to be assembling and going over what we think the top 10 list of 2023 from all of us should be. So good times, man. Appreciate you joining in, checking this. You can do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe. And appreciate you all, man. Thank you. That is my top 10 for 2023. And we will see you soon. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. Bye.